This January, Chinese immigrant Xiao Amy Hubbard became South Africa's first Chinese foreign minister, and that has strengthened the anti-China sentiment in the country and raised the voices calling for the removal of Chinese politicians in South Africa. However, a few weeks ago in Australia, a Chinese businessman who is suspected for political intervention in Australia was ordered to be deported. On January 4th, Labour Party leader Anthony Albanese called on the Morris government to investigate alleged links between two Liberal MPs and a Chinese businessman named Hufang Haha Liu, who has been classified as a national security risk by Australia's top espionage agency. Since he had previously worked as a soldier in the Chinese People's Liberation Army, it became a big problem in other similar matters. And later, Hifeng Haha Liu, a Liberal Party donor who has a close relationship with political figures, has been sentenced to deportation by the Australian Security Intelligence Organization. ASIO assessed it as a security risk. A former soldier in PLA, Liu founded the Australian Emergency Assistance Association Incorporated in cooperation with the Chinese consulate in Melbourne and was chairman of the group until November last year. According to the confidential documents obtained by the ABC, the AEAIR was promised funding from the consulate and agreed to report back on criminal incidents, emergencies, accidents, and security risk involving Chinese citizens deemed to require consular assistance. The Counter-Foreign Interference Task Force of the Australian Security Intelligence Organization and the Australian Federal Police are currently investigating Haha Liu's relations. The problem is that with the help of Gladius Liu from the Liberal Party, Minister for Housing Michael Sukkar, Haha Liu was in close contact with important political figures in Australia. Haha Liu has been involved in various political events and has worked with former Prime Minister John Howard and Tony Abbott, among others, on public relations and networking. And this is the point at which he is suspected of building mutual relationships with some politicians and thereby intervening politically. In the meantime, all the people involved denied these allegations. In the previous post on Weibo, Haha Liu thanks to Ms. Gladius Liu for translating the discussions with Mr. Abbott, Mr. Bishop, and managing directors. He wrote like this: under the simultaneously interpretation from Sister Gladius Liu, my speech was full of emotion. Tony and I talked about the election, refugees, immigration policy, and security issues. But Australia's first female Chinese Congresswoman Gladius Liu said she only knew Haha Liu as a AEAAI chairman and didn't have other personal relationship or did receive any financial assistance from him. The relationship between Minister Michael Sukkar and Haha Liu is even stranger. There are many photos taken by Haha Liu and MP Michael Sukkar from 2016 to 2018. Michael Sukkar also sent a Christmas card in 2017 in which he thanked him for his friendship and support 6 months after the consulate announced its agreement with Haha Liu. However, Michael Sukkar denied his relationship with Liu, saying, I have attended several events with Haha Liu, but I have never had a private meeting or conversation with Haha Liu, who is known to speak poor English. Everyone denies any relationship with Haha Liu, so it looks as if it was just Haha Liu's assumption that he had a close relationship with others. Meanwhile, Gladius Liu, who is accused of having a suspicious relationship with Haha Liu, has received much criticism since 2019. In the May 2019 general election, Gladius Liu was elected as the first Chinese Congresswoman in Australia, but soon after her problems arose. Although born in Hong Kong, Gladius Liu has been found to have joined various Chinese government agencies, including the Chinese Overseas Exchange Association known as the Guangdong Overseas Exchange Association. At the time, the Australian media ABC cited a document from the Chinese government raising suspicions that Gladius Liu was a member of the Overseas Exchange Association, which was founded to expand China's international influence from 2003 to 2015. In fact, she was an honorary member of the Guangdong Overseas Exchange Association in 2011, but later in an interview she denied any connection with the Chinese Communist Party and said she does not remember anything about the group. Quote, "I have nothing to do with it now."
After being elected to Parliament just 4 months ago, Ms Liu was this week hit with explosive allegations that she sat as a council member for an organisation linked to the Chinese Communist Party. The Liberal MP at first not remembering if that was true before denying any involvement.
However, when she was a candidate for the House of Representatives, she didn't disclose about her involvement in the Chinese Communist Party. Her political donation was not reported on authorities, and it was also revealed that she took the lead in deregulating foreign investment in Australia. In addition, the ASIO advised the Chancellor not to attend the event organized by Gladys Liu, and warned that it would be undesirable to nominate her as a Liberal candidate. It could therefore be concluded from the event that the Australian government issued a warning about Gladys Liu's CCP relationship. But Ha Liu and Gladys Liu aren't the only Chinese who have got into trouble in Australia. In 2019, the reports came to the light that China was attempting to intervene in several countries, including Australia. Wang Lichang, a Chinese spy who worked in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Australia, said China intervened in Taiwan's local elections in November 2018, and also trying to prevent Tsai Ing-wen from being re-elected in the 2019 presidential election. In the revelation, Wang Lichang testified that my Chinese spy agency handled Australian affairs as well as Hong Kong and Taiwan. And it was also revealed that Chinese spy agencies were trying to recruit Chinese Australians as spies and make them members of the Australian Parliament. Shortly after Wang Lichang's exposure, Australian intelligence agencies said, "We are helping the Taiwanese authorities investigate the death of a Chinese-Australian businessman, Bonik Zhao, at a motel in suburb of Melbourne, Australia on March 2019. Australian authorities said, "We are investigating whether Bonik Zhao's death is related to China's political intervention, and we are seriously looking into the incident." His death attracted renewed attention, because after the revelations of Chinese spy Wang Lichang, new points and views were raised after his death. According to the Australian intelligence officials, Bonik Zhao, who has been a member of the Australian Liberal Party since 2015, visited the Australian Intelligence Office in February to give this testimony. The Chinese spy agency seems to be pursuing a plan to smuggle a spy into the Australian Parliament. Brian Chen, a Chinese businessman that I know, offered me $1 million Australian to run for the next general election. However, after a month later, Bonik Zhao was found dead in the motel room. There has been speculation and suspicion the Chinese intelligence agencies were faking a mysterious death to cover up a planned murder in order to silence him. So far there is only speculation and no solid evidence other than the cause of death, a drug overdose. Of course, the Chinese government denied the relationship with Wang Lichang, saying that Wang Lichang, who disclosed all of this, was just a crook saying it in his favor and denied any connection to the aforementioned incident. Along with the Australia incident, New Zealand was also embroiled in the controversy over Chinese political intervention. In January 2020, a donation of $2 million to the Christ Church Foundation by the CCP-affiliated group was criticized by Anna Marie Brady, a professor at the University of Canterbury. Brady said this is the part of China's strategy to influence New Zealand. The New Zealand Changshan General Association (CSGA) donated $2 million, and the head of the CSGA was Zhang Yikun. However, Zhang Yikun was the head of the National Political Consultative Conference of Hunan Province in China from 2013 to 2018. Even in 2018, he also took part in a meeting of Chinese overseas and returnees who were invited to Beijing by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Also in 2018, Zhang Yikun offered $100,000 to New Zealand National Party leader Simon Bridges, and at that time Simon was criticized for trying to hide it. Again and again, it is stated that CCP did not only exert direct and indirect influence in Myanmar, South Africa, Taiwan, Australia, and New Zealand, but does so all over the world. CCP, which has been heavily criticized around the world since the Wuhan pneumonia in 2019, is trying to expand its influence on the world over and over. What do you think of this video? Thanks for watching, likes, comments, and sharing. Be safe.